Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. For my third and final review for you today, I have These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. This was an OwlCrate pick for, I don't remember what month, I'd have to go back and check, but it's basically a Romeo and Juliet retelling set against the backdrop of 1920 Shanghai. So let's just get into it. So when I first started reading this book, I was really hesitant because 1920s Shanghai isn't really a setting that I was excited about. I love Romeo and Juliet, don't get me wrong, I do. And I love retellings about it and like reimaginings and remixes and stuff like that. But I wasn't really excited about the setting. And I was kind of really hesitant because they're, instead of like two rival families, they're like two rival gangs. The Scarlets, which is the Kais, which are the Capulets in this story, and the White Flowers, which are the Montagues or Montagues in this story. So basically, the main characters are Juliet. Her name is actually Juliet, spelled with two T's and two E's instead of the regular spelling that you would find in Shakespeare. And then we have Roma, who is our Romeo of the story. I know Romeo and Juliet pretty well. I've watched Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. We had to watch the original Romeo and Juliet in, I think, sophomore year of English class. And I fell in love with the story. Back then, I was just like, oh, they're in love and they wanted to be together, so they killed each other or killed themselves. And I was like, oh, it's so romantic. I mean, now that I'm older, obviously, I'm like, you guys were infatuated with each other and there's no way you could fall in love in 3 days. Thankfully, in this book, it's established that Roma and Juliet have had a previous relationship. And then when they were 15, and there was a Scarlet massacre at the hands of the White Flowers, and Juliet's nurse was killed, so she was sent to New York for like 4 or 5 years. I forget how much. It wasn't really explained all that well, but basically Juliet is like 18 or 19 at the time of this book starting, so her and Roma are now 18 and 19 years old, and they're kind of trying to navigate like family politics and stuff, while also trying to stop this madness that is circulating Shanghai that causes people to rip their own throats out with their own hands. Lovely, isn't it? I know. And so basically, you have all the basic characters from Romeo and Juliet. You have Juliet, Romeo, which is Roma in this version. You have Tyler, which is Juliet's cousin, who's taking the place of Tybalt. You have Benedict, who is Roma's cousin, who's taking the place of Benvolio. And then you have Marshall, who's taking the place of Mercutio in this story. Juliet also has two cousins, Rosalind, which is an actual character in Romeo and Juliet. She's never seen like on stage, but she's mentioned. And then she has this other cousin named Catherine. Yeah. And so, yeah, that's basically what the story is. I was not too fond of this story, which made me kind of sad because I love Romeo and Juliet. But I think as I got closer to the end, I realized why I didn't like it that much. And that's because it focuses a lot on gang culture, which isn't really something I'm interested in. I mean, you'd think, because I read a bunch of stuff about cartels and stuff like that, but I was like, you know how like if you've ever been on Wattpad, there's a lot of like, oh, the head of the gang's daughter or whatever, and they're like rival gangs and they're like shooting each other and killing each other. And I was like, that doesn't really interest me. I don't really like that. I liked the story well enough. Like, I liked the mystery of like what the madness is and who was causing the madness and how to stop it and stuff. So that was the only reason I kept reading, because I wanted to figure out the mystery. I wasn't too fond of Roma and Juliet's relationship, ironically, because I didn't buy it. Like, it doesn't seem like Juliet really cares for Roma that much. Like, it's kind of like in the first book of Wicked Saints. I didn't really buy the romance between the two love interests in that book either. Like, it seems like Roma is so much more in love with Juliet than Juliet's in love with Roma. And I don't buy that Juliet is like this, like, badass, like, I will kill anyone who gets in my way type girl. Because I just don't know. Like, it was, like, it's written there on the page. Like, she tries to strangle somebody, she shoots somebody and kills them. And I'm just like, I still don't buy it. I don't buy that this girl is, like, she doesn't want this. And, like, you can tell in the book and, like, reading between the lines that she doesn't want this. Like, she just wants to, like, go and live with Roma and be happy and, like, live happily ever after or whatever. And so, yeah. In terms of LGBTQ representation, there is a gay character. I don't know if it's ever explicitly said, but that's Mercutio, which is Marshall in this story. It seems like Marshall and Benedict have this thing going on, but I can't really tell because there's not been, like, I haven't seen Marshall, like, kiss anybody. He kind of has, like, a little thing with Catherine in, like, the middle of the book, and I'm like, okay, are they love interests? But then it also seems like Benedict has a thing for Marshall. Like, they're more than just friends, but, like, it hasn't been explicitly said whether he's gay or bisexual or pansexual or whatever. So I don't know. Maybe we'll figure that out towards the end of, or in the next book, which is called Our Violent Ends, I believe it's what it's called. And I believe it's coming out November or December of this year. Alcrate has a pre-order for it right now. I won't be pre-ordering it because I honestly don't know when I'm going to get to the sequel because the first book didn't really interest me all that much. But yeah, I'm interested to see where the story goes. I'm interested to see how closely they keep to Romeo and Juliet because there was something in, like, the last 50 pages that has, like, was drastically changed from the play and any adaptation that we know of right now. So I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, okay, kudos. I see you. Good choice. Interesting. I want to see where you go with this. So yeah, that was my review for These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong, and I will see you guys later. Bye!